Hey everybody, welcome back to the Wayback Chronicles podcast. My name is Steve McKelkey, and I'm here with my lifelong friends Keith Abbott and Noel Kirsch. As you recall in this podcast, we cover all the greatest events from 1970 to current.
Steve is going to be talking about the music of 2008. So Steve, I'm really excited to hear how this is going to go. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, I'll try, first of all, to not set a high level of expectations because as we talked about at the end of the movie episode, music started to go a different direction, and the access to music started to change. Prior to really 2008, you started to really just go into you could go into Best Buy or Walmart or wherever, buy hundreds of different type of CDs out there, and you know what sounds good right now? Peanut butter
cookies, man.
Yeah, I mean
peanut butter cookies.
You aren't wrong.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, and I'm sorry, Steve, but for the listeners, we are on camera, and Keith just brought in this hot. I don't even know if it's hot, but it looks hot. It's a hot peanut butter cookie that his wife just gave him, and it is like he's making us jealous.
I am intentionally distracting them.
Yeah,
it.
It's not fair.
Anyway, I mean, yeah, I told the guys that getting this episode to 20 minutes would be impossible, and Keith just added 2 minutes with this cookie tirade. So
happy to help.
We'll get to 20 minutes, folks. Don't worry, your commute will be filled by this episode. So one thing I could probably promise all our listeners, and there's probably not going to be a lot of songs that we talk about that Noel will start singing to. And I'll be honest, whenever I was reading through the top songs for 2008, I had to YouTube search or Apple Music search a lot of these songs just to find out what the heck it is. And in many cases, I was like, oh, I've heard that before, but I haven't, you'll start to understand this. But anyway, so one of the big things that really happened in 2008 is the availability of streaming music. It existed for a few years, but really 2008 was really the last, if you want to call it, big year in CD record sales. And so there started really becoming an obvious shift in how music lovers listen to and purchase music. So we saw record sales drop drastically in 2008. Consumers started to migrate away from the CD formats. So you remember you used to be able to walk into Best Buy and there would be 6-7 aisles of CDs and hundreds of titles, and now they don't exist anymore. And I don't think you can even buy a CD if you wanted to, unless it's a pawn shop or something.
Right.
But so retailer space started to minimize, and then also in 2008 we had that recession. So discretionary spending started to become minimal, and so and of course a lot more consumers had computers, so there was a lot more access to it. I'm sure Keith, whenever he talks about TV in future episodes, probably talk about a little bit of the transition from like MTV, where we grew up as Gen Xers. A lot of the songs that we heard for the first time was on MTV or on the radio. And in many cases now it became on the internet or whatever format we're listening to at the time. So
video killed the radio star.
That's right. I love that song.
Yeah, it's a great song.
So total album sales in 2008 was roughly 428 millions, but that includes CDs and album downloads. So in 2007, or from 2007 to 2008, there was a 14% drop, according to Nielsen SoundScan, which does the radio or the music version, like Nielsen ratings for TV. And so really, the industry's peak for record CD sales was 2000. So by the time we got 2008, we'd seen a 45% decline in number of records bought by consumers. And however, we saw a significant rapid increase in digital music purchases. So sales of music, digital music continued to rise steeply. Just over 1 billion songs were downloaded in 2008. So the big milestone for that year. That was a 27% increase from 2007. And so a lot of record companies say they were finally beginning to see significant profits from what was an unprofitable format with digital music. And you think about back then, if you think of how you first accessed digital music online, what were some of the first formats or platforms you could think of?
Napster. Just
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah, Napster was the
Yeah.
first one that pops
Kazaa.
in my mind. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, yep.
Kazaa was the other one. And they were all considered to be, music piracy sites. And there was
Yep.
a huge dilemma. And hey, is this good for our music artists? And
Mhm.
so they're a lot, starting to sue to protect their content, and it really became a big guess or big challenge for the music world.
There's a documentary out there right now on Netflix about the beginnings of Spotify. If you haven't watched that, that's pretty good. It kind of gets into this whole, moving the music industry from a where you go to the store and you purchase a thing and you put it into your player, play it, to you download it online, and that whole, it's a pretty good documentary. I think it's like I think if I remember, there's multiple episodes on it. Pretty well done. So
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So beautiful segue by Noel, because actually in 2008 is when Spotify started,
I,
and
we honestly did not practice that, but that's
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah.
Glad I could
Beautiful
help out.
job, Noel. And
Yeah.
here we go vamping to get us to 20 minutes, but as Spotify, today is super strong. Yeah, it's one of the number one formats.
And by the way,
And
the Wayback Chronicles are available on Spotify. Just
yes,
so
yes,
you know,
absolutely.
Look at that.
please feel free if you're a listener to download the Wayback Chronicles podcast. Okay, go back to you, Steve.
Another silky segue by Keith Abbott right there. So and really back in 2008 was the big digital music platforms. Was iTunes had been around for a few years by that point. Amazon Music had launched in 2007, the prior year. And then there was two formats I do not remember. This one started in 2007 called Bandcamp.
I've never heard of that one.
And then and Seven Digital started in 2004. Both of those foreign to me.
Those are to me too. I don't recognize them.
Yeah, yeah.
Don't know that one.
Yeah.
Either one of them.
And these next two are funny. So if you think about web music streaming sources, it's where you just find a song and listen to it. We sort of talked about this in previous episodes. Any guess what was one of the first big music streaming sources?
It wasn't like a Napster.
Well, the big one for 2008 was the first big one was MySpace.
Oh,
that makes total sense because MySpace was really originally created for music artists. Okay,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly. And so Keith, you even talked about, I think it was in the '95 when we started talking about social media, how MySpace is still around, and we thought MySpace was so cool because you go to your page and you could hear like you could pick a song, have a theme song for your page, and so that was pretty cool. And then YouTube was very early, and being a major streaming source on this, which I was surprised it wasn't a little more advanced prior to 2008. But YouTube really started to become a big platform for music from a streaming source.
That makes sense.
So
one of y'all logged into your MySpace account. Was it you, Steve?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's still alive. It's
what's your theme song?
I don't think I ever set one on mine. So
you missed out on a big opportunity. So let's talk about there's pros and cons to both of these formats, right? Because I remember, and we've talked about this in another episode too. I remember the joy of finding that album at the store that I couldn't wait to get when it released, right? But then I also appreciate how if somebody tells me about a song today that they love, I can go and find it right now on my couch. So I can't really say that in my opinion, one is really better than the other. There was some awesome feelings of being able to find in the stores or discover something. But there's also something to be said about the ease and convenience of being able to find anything at your fingertips right now. So I don't know which one do you think is there better or worse, or what's your opinion?
I mean, I would think once technology caught up to once technology progressed to the point where it could transfer large file sizes, music is not the multimedia files are not small. Let me try to get that out of my mouth, but multimedia files are not small. So you need to be able to you need to have technology that can transfer a large file like that quickly. So back when file downloads when this all started back in the day, it took like hours to download a song. And so, and it was common to have interruptions with downloads and such. So back then too. So, I mean, but now that technology has progressed to the point it has today, I prefer streaming. I can't remember. I mean, I think everybody kind of feels that way, obviously, because you can't even find CDs now in stores. It's all online. So
Yeah.
at some point, technology and retail kind of passed each other, and technology kind of took over. So I think the people have spoken that they prefer everything to be online. I know I certainly do, but back when it took like half a day to download Jump from Van Halen, yeah, I don't know, not so much. It's a very frustrating experience back then.
Definitely much better way to get our connections of what we're looking forward to hearing right now. I love it. I do. Like I say, there's something to be said about the nostalgic way of discovery, the old way. But I definitely, there are some things where if I were ported back to 1980 or something like that, there's things I would seriously miss. And being able to get music like as quick as we can now, I would be sad to not be able to.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
It's funny because we talk about streaming music, and I'm a Apple Music subscriber, and actually have the account, so me and my wife can both listen at the same time without disconnecting each other's songs, because as much as we have in common, sometimes music's not that. And anyway, so like Keith and I talked in the past. Keith and I talked in the past month that hey, I'm gonna kill iTunes and just try Spotify. And I was so used to the iTunes format and just having all my songs saved and everything. I was like, nah, I'm going back. I don't think I made it 3 days. And when we talked about our lack of connection to music in 2008, I do think it's because one, we were all seriously in our careers at that time, and like a lot of Gen Xers, we were. When we had that downtime, we're looking to connect to music that we're passionate about, that was part of our growing up days, part of our, lives and memories. And as we listen to newer songs or newer artists in 2008, you really start to hear a different type of sound. And as I go through some of the albums, you hear a lot of, there's some artists that we definitely say, yeah, I know exactly who that is now. There's also a couple artists you're like, I have no idea who that is still. And so we started to lose that connection a little bit. So if you look at top album sellers of 2008, we've all heard this name now, but the number one album was Lil Wayne, the Carter 3 album. And I had to Google it, and I think YouTube it, and I recognize the song. We've heard it a few times, but Coldplay, which I think all of us know to some extent,
I love Coldplay.
Viva La Vida album was number 2. Taylor Swift, Fearless was number 3.
You're talking about an artist that's definitely stood the test of time. You got to give Taylor Swift credit. I mean, just this year, she's crashing the internets for her tour. I mean, and this is 2008. So we're talking what? 15 years later, she's still, I mean, and many artists that they don't last that long. So
yeah. By the way, no, Lil Wayne, as in Bruce Wayne.
I didn't hear that right. That's why I typed it in the chat. I was kidding. I didn't hear what you said. That's why I asked for clarity.
Oh man.
Yeah, good question. Oh man. Number 4 was Kid Rock, Rock and Roll Jesus, which I know a little bit, and so when I heard the song, I was like, oh, yeah. AC/DC's Black Ice album was number 5.
I don't know if I know that one.
Taylor Swift again was number 6 with the Taylor Swift album. Metallica Death Magnetic album came at number 7. This next one, T.I. is the artist.
Texas Instruments.
Yeah.
They make great calculators.
Album called Paper Trail. And so, yeah, great job of calculators. Number 9 was another artist I haven't heard of named Jack Johnson.
Jack Johnson, he's a singer-songwriter, really good acoustic guitarist. Think of like coffee shop music type people. I think he was from Hawaii actually, or he recorded a lot in Hawaii. Really good, chill music. I like. Are you
making this up, or
no? I like.
You're gonna say he had a good popular song in 2008. I think it was.
Yeah, back in that day, it was really, really good. So, what album was it?
Oh,
It
what is
was
that?
the Sleep Through the Static album,
Oh,
Okay.
which was etched in my memory as awesome.
Garth Brooks.
No,
Then
the album I
Jeff
liked
Johnson.
of his was In Between Dreams, but I don't think that was then.
yeah,
Yeah.
I wish we were comfortable playing some music clips on this format, but
Yeah.
obviously that takes a lot of permissions and
We have to get
money spent.
our legal team on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely will. It'd be nice.
We'll send that down to the legal department.
I think as unfamiliar as we are about 2008 music, if we ever flash back to the 70s and do a future 70s year, it might be the same type of challenge.
It's going to be very, it's funny how each generation has kind of a tunnel of art that they know. Like, like it'll be interesting, like for Noel, for our kids, they're so I don't know how your son and daughter are, but Hayden is massively enthralled in music right now.
Oh,
and
yeah,
it'll
big
be
time.
and I don't know, like he'll introduce him to me because I'm always like, hey, give me something new, I want to hear it. And he's got some cool stuff. But it'll be interesting to see how, when he becomes a parent, is he going to be, I'm assuming they'll be disconnected just like we are, but it's just so funny how that changes. So,
yeah, totally.
Yeah. And then the number 10 album for 2008 was Beyonce, I Am album. So anyway, yeah.
That's another artist that's just really stood the test of time, really.
Yeah, I was about to say that. She won a Grammy the other night.
Yeah.
I didn't watch the Grammys, but I heard that she won another one. I was like, my goodness, she's won.
And I think she just announced a huge world tour. And so, yeah, she's still going really strong.
Houston connection.
That's right.
She needs another mansion, so time to go on tour.
Can't have enough.
That's how you buy mansions these days. So and as we look at top singles for 2008, you've all heard this song by Flo Rida called "Low," and when I say the name, you're like, don't know it, but when you hear it,
Florida.
Yeah, Florida. Flo Rida. Featuring T-Pain, by the way.
How many listeners of youth have we just lost?
I mean, I think we've already agreed that anybody born after 2000 is not listening to us at all. True. So who cares?
That's true.
The number 2 single was by an artist named Leona Lewis.
Leona Lewis, yeah.
Leading Love.
Yeah, I know that one.
Number 3 was by Alicia Keys. Title was No One. And I know as you search this, you're like, okay, I know that song. Mm-hmm. Next one I have not heard of, Noel, is by Lil Wayne.
Okay.
Called Lollipop. And
like a remake of the song from like the 50s.
Take it, Noel.
Boom, boom, boom. That one.
Oh boy, we are killing it in this episode. Number 5 was was Apologize by One Republic.
Oh, that's a good song.
That is a great song.
Yeah. Keith is like listening to the song. He's like, oh yeah, I know that one. Number 6 is a song called No Air, performed by Jordan Sparks and Chris Brown. I remember Jordan Sparks was in The Voice, I think, or American Idol, one of those two. Anyway, number 7 song. It's called a song called Love Song, and it's sung by Sarah Bareilles.
So as you've been going through, I can honestly tell you that I've just listened to Lollipop. It is not, and I repeat, it is not the former one.
All right.
And let's not talk about the Lollipop he's referring to. Okay. Back to you.
Yep. All righty. Number 8 was by Usher featuring Young Jeezy. Yeezy? Is that it? Love in the Club. Love in This Club. Yep.
Like the golf. That's a golf song? I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe that is.
Maybe.
Guy shot a bogey round. Then the last few songs
that's the only round I shoot, man, is a bogey round.
Mm-hmm.
And the last two, number 9, number 10, were both sung by the artist Chris Brown, which I don't know who that is. And the songs are With You and Forever. So,
Bobby Brown.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're related. Probably.
Chris Brown, if I remember right, wasn't he the one that got a lot of, he had a lot of violence or arrests or something happened to him?
Bobby Brown did too.
Yeah. So.
Oh, I think you're right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. I think he had a lot of legal problems, if I remember right, but he was really popular as an artist.
Yeah.
But
especially in 2008.
apparently,
So as we look at the artists that we lost in 2008, the list was fairly lengthy, but I really sort of just kept the ones that I knew off the top of my head. Was Isaac Hayes, passed in 2008. So did Bo Diddley, and I know Bo Diddley was a big, guitarist and jazz performer. And Eartha
Son of
Kitt as well.
Bo Jackson commercial
Yeah,
with
yeah. You
Bo
don't know
Diddley in it.
Diddley?
Remember
I
that?
remember that one. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Who was the one after Bo Diddley? I was
Eartha Kitt.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So
big time singer in the history of. Didn't she sing "God Bless America" or who? What it was? What was her big?
I imagine when she was alive, she sang "God Bless America." I mean, I've sang "God Bless
yeah, I
America."
know. I know.
Well, there was
Your
a.
version, Noel, is
Did she?
fantastic.
Did she sing the national anthem once or twice? I got maybe.
I think she's saying now she's the one that's saying happy birthday. I mean,
There's so many middle fingers flying out of my brain right now.
wishing happy birthday really just brings a tear to my eye every time.
She's the one that sang Santa Baby to begin with. So
Oh,
there's where
okay.
she came from. I was like trying to remember where her big thing came from. That was what it was.
Santa baby.
Sometimes I love you all, and sometimes I hate you all. Today is the latter. I just
Love.
That's what friends are for, man.
it's hate out of love. It's fine.
It is. It is brotherly hatred.
It's right.
So in 2000, Mariah Carey's "Touch My Body" album or song becomes her 18th U.S. chart topper and set the record for most U.S. number ones by a solo artist.
Wait, we're back to songs. I thought we were just doing deaths.
Just highlights. Yeah, we're moving on
I
past
got you.
dead people.
I'm sorry. Gotta keep up.
Madonna's "Sticky and Sweet" tour, which, by the way, Noel, the picture you shared of Madonna a couple of days ago, just that's not Madonna that we knew. But
Oh my gosh! So for anybody that the listeners, if you haven't seen the picture of Madonna at the Grammy Awards, I saw it and I didn't know who she was until I read the comments on Twitter that talked about it being her being Madonna. Oh my gosh, she has had so much surgery. She's 64 years old, but I don't think wants to age, and so she's got a deep pockets and she got all the surgeries done.
Yeah.
So unrecognizable.
Really.
So I sent that picture to the guys and they were like, "Whoa, my
had no idea
gosh."
who that was.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Anyway, her "Sticky and Sweet" tour became the highest grossing female tour of all time in 2008.
Wow.
Also that year, Lady Gaga released her first studio album called "The Fame." Katy Perry also released her first studio album called "One of the Boys."
Nice.
And then, sure, we talked about Taylor Swift, how current she still is, but in 2008, she released her second studio album called "Fearless."
Okay.
So, anyway, so those three right there are still continuing to be current these days.
It's interesting that you put Lady Gaga and Madonna together because I've always felt like Lady Gaga was kind of this generation's not this generation's, but the continuation of who Madonna was to us.
Absolutely.
And it took me a long time to appreciate her. Really did, but she's pretty spectacular of an artist.
Yeah, I mean, a great classical singer. One of my favorite Christmas songs is where she and Tony Bennett sang together, and just fantastic job. And anyway, as we get, go ahead.
I had a bad reaction to her the first time I saw her, because I think I could see that she was so nakedly trying to replicate or replace Madonna. I'm like, you can't replace Madonna. There's only one Madonna, so it's sort of like there's not ever going to be another one. I think when she kind of stopped all the flamboyant garbage and the all that stuff and just sing, I started to really like her. And then she was in a couple of movies, I think, too, and saw some videos about her and stuff. Yeah, she's a really good artist. I think a pretty good. That's totally changed on my opinion about her.
Yeah, agreed.
I don't have any posters of her or anything in my house or anything, but I think I like her music.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Wrapping up with the Grammys. So the album of the year, I'm always confused because so far the albums we talked about, and who they actually recognize, at the Grammys are always different. It's never like the highest grossing.
Right.
I guess it's the Grammy committee's opinion of what the best musical performance is or whatever. Anyway, so the album of the year for 2008 was Robert Plant and Alison Krauss, the Raising Sand album.
Interesting.
And so you didn't see that. And those two also won Record of the Year for the Please Read the Letter record. And then Song of the Year was by Coldplay, Viva La Vida. And then Best New Artist winner. Any guesses who that was?
New artist winner? Well, was it Lady Gaga?
Nope. Someone we haven't talked about yet.
Huh.
Somebody that's very current.
Very current.
Female.
That's a hint.
Female singer.
Yeah, it is. I don't.
Very current female singer.
Adele.
Oh, Adele.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh,
Seemed like she'd been around longer than 2008, right? But anyway, so I think the story of 2008, when you think about just for our generation, especially where we were in music, the advancement of technology really sort of kept us, I think, connected to what we grew up listening to and less interested in what was current at the time. And our time in front of a TV watching MTV was a lot less. Our time really, hanging out listening to the radio was a lot less than it used to be. So when we did spend time listening to the radio, it was streaming it to listen to our favorite songs from our college days or our childhood or whatever it was. So anyway, and I'm willing to bet that as we get closer to the current, so we're talking about 15 years ago. So not that long ago in the grand scheme of things, but I think probably even music that's released in the last 5 years, we feel even less connected with. And so
oh my goodness,
I think one thing I'm going to try to do is at least try to pay a little more attention to what is currently going on in the music world and just try to understand the songs and because there's a lot of passionate artists out there these days. And you can get caught up in, are they trying to tell me a political or emotional or a relationship message or whatever it is, but I just want to know sort of what's going on, because I don't feel like the music coming out these days is as great as what we grew up with. But I think I also owe it the fair shot to give them a chance to listen to their music. And so
I agree with you. And I think that there are some fantastic artists that there's so much of the rap, the same sound, everything sounds so similar, but if you can sift through some of that to find the really good artists, there are a ton. And the problem that we're having now, it's the same thing that we're having with TV and movies and all of these things, because it's overload. Like you look at the 80s, the 70s, the 60s, the 50s, there was a streamlined amount of music and a finite amount of music. Now there are limitless avenues to find new songs, whether it be recording artists, whether it be people who are just trying to get on TikTok. There's so many avenues of music that it's just kind of created so much noise. It's hard. It's hard to find something that you can be so passionate about. And I don't know if it's ever going to be that way like it was for us in the 80s and 90s and with these things that we hold on to, because there's so much. But there's a lot of really, really cool artists. And it's fun. Like I say, I try to get my kids, just send me something cool, or I'll, like when we go on a road trip, okay, put on something that you want to listen to. And I've actually gotten some really cool, like Post Malone. Hayden really likes him. I like him. There's a guy named Ty Verdes that's great. There's a lot of really cool artists that are out there right now. But like I say, and I love the way you illustrated this, Steve, that we got so caught up being able to find the stuff that we were nostalgic with. And again, probably why we have a lot of listeners and followers on this podcast is we're so able to be tied to the things that we're passionate about, that maybe some of the new stuff we got carried away from because of our ability to keep in touch with the things that really, encapsulated us. It's kind of interesting the way you put that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think if you think about it back in the day, I mean, if you were an aspiring artist, your way to break into the industry was to like make a tape and then get it into the right hands of and now with all the stuff online, all the streaming services, that barrier to entry into the market is almost non-existent. Like you can, as long as you've got an account, you can upload anything you want and other people can download it. And then that's how you're found, is by downloads. So it's
look at us.
Yeah.
Okay. 20 years ago, we couldn't be able to record something and put it out for the world to hear. And we're doing it, sorry for everybody having to listen to us, but we're able to do this and do something we really hope that people can be excited about.
It's a great time to thank our listeners. We just passed 800 downloads in 2 months since we started this. And I that's amazing. Like by the time this plays, that number is going to be old. Like we'll have a lot more than that. But as we're recording this today, we're already there. And it's amazing to think, like, you're right though, Keith, like how would this have been done back in 1980?
No way.
It wouldn't have been done.
No.
There's no way. We'd had to be on like a TV station or a radio station or something like that. And here we are just talking. So it's
pretty
weird.
Pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
Technology.
Guys, it's amazing. Like, 1995, when we talked about technology, it was the beginning of, Real Audio or Real Player, I believe it launched that year. And that really sort of was like the trigger that made a lot of what's available in 2008 right now that we're talking about possible. And of course, technology has significantly advanced in the following 13 years after 95. But it is amazing though that there are so many different types of music. The music is so diverse, and especially in 2008, represents there's so many different parts of the world. And so while we may not connect personally as well as we do to the songs, definitely a lot of respect for the variety of artists and the variety of emotions and passions that are put out there in their songs. And so,
and I think that the 2020 pandemic, I've really passionately believe that in the next few years, we're going to have some of the coolest songs come out. Because you think about artists like to talk about a lot of sad things and pain and bring it out and through their emotions through lyrics, right? There must have been so much written while people were home trying to cope with life. I really believe that in the next 5 years, we're going to have an explosion of awesome music and TV. And a lot of people had time to really think of some creative things. And so I'm really excited about what's going to be coming out in the next few years. I think it's going to be a brilliant.
Yeah. I'm actually working on a song that I'm currently penning called "Thank God for DoorDash."
Oh,
because that got everybody through the pandemic. And,
right.
I got the words, just don't have the background music to it yet. So
you gotta work in "Margaritas by the Gallon" somewhere into your lyrics.
Wasting away again with margaritas from DoorDash.
That's right.
By the gallon.
Amazing.
All right, guys. Well, that is the year of 2008 in the world of music. So we'll see everybody back next time whenever we talk about 2008 sports. And I know a very, very special moment that happened in the world of 2008 in the world of sports. And I can't wait to chime in during those.
Yeah.
We're dedicating at least 10 minutes to that moment.
Yeah, we'll skip right past that. No, 2008 sports was you got to listen to that episode. I'm really excited about it. 2008 sports was one of the best sports years, like maybe ever. There was in my research, there were some people that were debating whether or not it was one of the greatest sports years of all time. So,
really?
Yeah, one of the best endings to a Super Bowl that I will tell you about in the next episode. A Wimbledon final for the ages, and then an Olympics that set records that nobody ever thought would ever be broken were broken. And then to cap it all off, a golf championship won by a guy who pretty much did it on one leg. So
wow,
you got to stick around for all that. It is it's an interesting year in sports, and I can't wait to talk about it in the next episode.
And now you piqued my interest.
Good stuff.
That's awesome.
Good stuff.
Okay, well, we'll talk to everybody on the sports of 2008 episode. Thanks, everyone.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Wayback Chronicles. All shows are written and produced by Noel, Keith, and Steve. Massive thanks to those who made these memories possible for us through the years. All songs, sounds, and effects have been attributed in the comments section and through links listed on waybackchronicles.podbean.com. We look forward to taking you way back again in the very near future.